Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 3 of the Firebird build. And this time we're going to take all the materials we prepped up last time and see if we can get them all glued together. Having got all of this material dimensioned up last time, it's now time to get it all kind of glued together into one big block. That's perhaps not as easy as it might sound. There are 19 separate pieces to this lamination, all of which have to be glued up and then positioned and clamped together. And that has to be done within the open time of the glue. And the open time of the glue I'm using, which is just regular tight bond, is between 6 and 10 minutes. Now it's pretty cold today, so I think I'm looking at the 10-minute end of the scale, but even so, that's not very much time really to kind of apply glue to everything, get it positioned and get it clamped up. So my plan is, first of all, I'm going to clamp everything together how it needs to be, and I'm going to take it to the drill press and drill a hole at each end to accommodate one of these pins, just so I've got something to locate everything in the right position, so I know I'm not going to have stuff moving around on me too much. And with that done, we're ready to go. Now I've done a test clamp and everything seemed to go together really well, and I've got enough clamps on hand to do it, and I've actually got some spare, so once we get the glue onto everything, we get it all clamped up. If there's still some spots that aren't quite going down, I've got some sash clamps that I can use to kind of put a bit more pressure on in places where I might need it. However, I am quite anxious about getting this done in the time available to me. So my plan at the moment is I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 6 minutes. I'm going to see how much gluing I can get done in that 6 minutes. If I'm nowhere near getting all of these veneers glued up and in position, I'll stop and then I'll just glue up the first half of stuff. I'll clamp that all up. I'll probably use this last section as a call to make sure everything's straight and as we need it to be. I'll let that dry and then I'll proceed and do the rest. If it kind of looks like I'm getting towards the end of the gluing in that 6 minutes, I think I'll probably just take the chance and try and get the rest of it done. So to get the ball rolling, we'll get this all clamped how we want it and then drill out for those 2 locating pins. Okay, so that's it all pinned together. So next up, I'm just going to cover this bench down so we're not going to get glue absolutely everywhere, because my technique here will be chuck loads of glue on and deal with the mess later. Okay, so nothing left to do now, everything's ready to go. It's just a case of really just putting my big boy's trousers on now and going for it. So I'm not going to do any fancy camera work, I'm not going to do any talking, I'm just going to concentrate as much as I can on getting this glued up as quickly as humanly possible. So I've set my timer for 6 minutes and we'll see how far we can get. that was the 6-minute timer going off, but I was actually quite pleased with the way that it was going, so I made the decision to push on and see if I can get the rest of it glued up. Is that the right call? Whew. Well, it's together. I feel like I should perhaps phone up the Guinness Book of Records, because if there isn't a record for the world's ugliest glue up already, I think there is now. But the main thing is, it's all down, it's all gone together really, really well by the looks of it. There's no spots where there isn't any squeeze out, so that would indicate that it's gone together really well. But of course we won't know that for sure until we get it out of the clamps. But so far, so good. So I'm going to leave this now for quite a while to dry up. I'm going to have a go at scraping some of the excess off, and then we'll get back to it in a bit and see how we've done. Okay, so this is dried overnight. It's had probably 22 hours since I clamped it all up. So there's no reason at all why this shouldn't be good and dry enough to take out the clamps. I'm not going to bore you with that. It took long enough to put them all on, so I'll join back with you when I've got this done. Okay, it hasn't fell to pieces, and if you give it a tap, it sounds quite solid, so that's great. So next we just need to clean this up a little bit. Now it's important to bear in mind that quite a lot of this isn't going to make it into the final guitar. So the fact that this bottom section might not look absolutely amazing and there might be a few gaps doesn't really matter, because if we put the template onto it, you can see that none of that bottom section will actually be in the guitar. It's all going to get cut away. And in fact, the only bit of the top that needs to be spot on is the section under the fretboard. And even that is going to be under the fretboard. So this is only going to be an initial clean up. I'm going to take these pegs off so they're not going to be in the way of anything. I'm going to make sure that this bottom face is smooth and flush and also square to the sides, and then I'm going to run it through the thicknesser just to get rid of this material that's sticking up out of the top. Once I've done that, I'm actually going to set this aside for a few days just to dry up some more, to stabilise any movement that might happen. I can't see how any will, but you never know. We'll be done and out of the way. So without further ado, we'll start getting this cleaned down a little bit. Okay, so that's the bottom planed kind of flat and square. It's not absolutely brilliant, but like I said, none of this is going to be on show, so don't really care too much. But what we can see is that in these spots where I've been able to plane down to good veneer, it actually looks really, really nice. Okay, so just need a quick change around in the workshop, break out the thicknesser, and we can get the other side done. Okay, and there's the top cleaned down. I think that's come up absolutely beautiful. There's a definite difference in the stripes of the wood, but it is quite subtle at the same time. So yeah, loving that. Now, as I said earlier, there was an awful lot of moisture and glue went into this when we stuck it all together. I don't believe by any stretch of the imagination that it's fully cured just yet. So I'm going to put this to one side. I'm going to let it dry out and cure up for another couple of days before we do anything more with it. So that seems like a really good opportunity to end this episode. But I'll be back in a couple of days' time with the next episode, where I'll make a start on getting the body wings cut out and maybe also the control cavities. So as always, drop me a like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.